Evening everyone, Pete here from Active Health. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm sitting here with a bright orange bucket and loads of jugs of water. So yeah, let's talk about stress. So Chris and I were talking the other day about our next video choices. I said, oh, it's quite stressful, isn't it? And there we go, stress is our next topic of discussion. So I'm not talking about clinical depression or anything that's been diagnosed by anyone medically. I'm talking about stress. Okay, so for me, stress comes in three different forms. It comes emotionally, physically and chemically. Okay, and they're the three main factors of stress that I think we can do something about as people, as chiropractors and everything else. So emotional stress, that's obviously our emotions and how we're feeling about the world at the moment with the pandemic. Obviously stress levels can be a little bit higher. Physically, are we moving? Are we looking after ourselves? How are we getting on with that sort of thing? And then chemically, how our body is working either through the hormones systems, through vitamins and minerals. So chemically is in your blood and in your body. So we all have a level of daily stress, which we're going to pour into our bucket. So this bucket is your stress bucket. This for me is how much stress your body can tolerate. It's actually a Halloween bucket, but it's the only one I have lying around the house, so this is what we're using. So this is how much stress your body can physically take before something goes a bit wrong, and that can manifest emotionally, physically, or chemically, and that's where the three come together. So let's put some stress into our bucket. So we're going to have a little bit of stress there, so a bit of emotional stress, some chemical stress because we're sitting around not doing very much, we're not eating very well, maybe drinking a bit more than we should, not being able to get out and get our vitamin D from the sunshine. And then physically, again, we're sitting, we're not doing very much, and we're not really being as active as we should be. So those are three levels of stress that can affect us. But currently, you're coping. Okay, so the bucket hasn't overflowed. But now, you're starting to get really stressed out. What's going to happen at work? What's going to happen with the kids? For me, homeschooling is always fun. Again, you start not looking after yourself properly with your diet and everything else. You're not taking your multivitamins, and you start doing a lot less at home, a lot more lethargic, and you're not doing your physical activity. We're now brimming. So what happens next? Everything piles on top, and everything then overflows, and it all goes a little bit wrong. And this is where stress kicks in. And again, you're going to melt down, you're going to break in one way. You're going to break emotionally, you're going to break physically, or you're going to break chemically. Okay? Now I'm going to try and be very clever now and pour this water back in these jugs, because I want to show you what we can do, or what you can do and what I can do and everything else to possibly help with a little bit of stress. Who'd have thought a Halloween bucket would be so helpful? You know what? I've got a little jug for this one, because that would be harder to fill up. Okay, so again, we've got a bit of daily life stress in the bucket there. I left a bit behind, but we'll chuck a little bit more in. So there we go. We are now daily life stress. So we all have an underlying level of stress that we all suffer with. So emotionally, we go out for a walk. That's not just emotional, that's physical. So let's lose a little bit of physical stress. Let's lose a bit of that emotional stress, because we have a little bit of switch off, bit of time to ourselves, and actually we're out in the sunshine with no sun cream on, only for a short time, 20 to 30 minutes. So we're developing our vitamin D. We then start looking at Chris and Pete's videos on YouTube, and we start realising actually some exercise and some stretching is a really, really good beneficial thing to do. So we're going to lose a bit more of that physical stress, so that's gone. And then we look at Chris's last video with the vitamin D, start taking supplements, start looking at our diet and eating really, really well. And again, we lose a little bit more of that chemical level of stress. Now emotionally, yeah, it's hard, but talking to people, getting it out there, and just clearing some of, getting a bit of headspace, a bit of mind space, again, loses some of that stress. So now what happens? All the stress piles back in. It's all going to build up, and it's going to get right onto the edge, but the bucket is coping. We're dealing with the stress day to day that we've got. And this is a daily bucket. So every day, the stress levels build in all different factors, chemical, emotional, and physical. But today, because you've done good things for your body, the bucket hasn't overflowed, which is a great thing. When we're back at work, we can help the physical a lot more. We can actually get hold of you, get things moving, relax the muscles, give you exercise to do. So the physical we can really help you with. But once we start helping with the physical, then we can start helping with the emotional, because you can start moving more and doing more. And do you know what? Going back to work and moving around and just doing normal stuff really helps with that emotional stuff. combine both of them, drop those stress levels down, chemical stuff improves, and then we talk to you about your vitamins and your vitamin D, your diet and everything else, and that improves. And what happens? Your bucket doesn't floweth over, therefore the stress doesn't break down. One of these. I thought it was quite a nice way of showing you my view of stress and the 3 major factors. There's a lot more you can talk about. You can go a lot more in depth with all the chemicals and everything else, but this is a really nice, simple way. We need to drop a little bit out of each water container to stop our stress bucket, our coping mechanism, from overflowing. Otherwise, obviously, it overflows, and as I said, something breaks. Hope you guys all stay well. Any problems, always give us a call. We'll always get back to you. Email, Facebook, however you want to get hold of us is all good. And we'll see you again next time. Take care. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.